Here we go. H197. Even game. I mean, very closely rated. We've got a Sicilian, open Sicilian, classical variation. Okay, when they play this way, it indicates they're going for a English attack. So I like to kick the knight in the center immediately. Slow down the onrush on the king side a little bit. You can often get away with just bringing this bishop out and pushing the d-pawn forward to get rid of this weakness here in the center. Especially if they take time to set up pawns like that. So he pretty much has to take. I mean, there's a threat of this pawn coming forward to fork. And it's an okay position for black. Okay for white too, of course. So now he's threatening to castle queenside and get some pressure on my queen. Yeah, I can't move my queen immediately. I have to keep this bishop defended. So let's unpin the bishop. He can trade queens if he wants to. That'll bring a rook here. Or if he plays that, I will take his queen. Then bishop here, so that I can castle quickly. If he just pushes the pawn forward, where does my bishop drop back to? Maybe here. Probably it has to go all the way back to here. But then this bishop here is, yeah, I mean, it's a weakness. It induces a weakness in his structure if he pushes that pawn forward to kick my bishop and protect his rook. Or he moves the rook and, you know, I've gained a tempo on a castle. Yep, so he does that. But yeah, now this diagonal is open. Yeah, I'm just going to castle. I'm not going to go out of my way to prevent the little pawn damage there. He has to give up the bishop pair to do anything. In fact, I'm going to kick that bishop now and resolve this situation so that I can move my rook over. So yeah, we're only on move 17. We're already almost in the end game. I guess this is 16 points of force, so by the rule of 13, we're not quite at the end game yet, but almost there. Okay, so he decided to play with his knight. Yeah, let's put the bishop on the good diagonal. King has no no moves. If I could just put a piece somewhere here that would check it. Ah, he wanted to get that move in. I see. So if I go here with the rook, he takes the bishop, I guess. Looks like actually I have to take the knight, because if I go here, I could go here. But I'm a little bit worried about getting sidelined there. If I go here, then come out over here, not quite sure what I want to do with this. So we have opposite colored bishops. Okay, I might lift this pawn up to give my bishop an escape square against these onrushing pawns, and then push this. I mean, this immediate pawn push would be met by him pushing back and then threatening to trap this guy. I suppose I could do it in that order too. No, I can't, because there's also a back rank problem. So I can't, when I push forward, I need to be able to take with the rook if he takes. Oh, I could take with the bishop. So I push, he takes, I take with the bishop. That seems okay. I push, he pushes, then I go here. It also seems okay. So he goes after that pawn. I have to defend. Okay, now I can oppose rooks. I am losing a pawn on the periphery there, but I can't let him double rooks here. I don't want to let him double rooks there. So I get a rook on an open file. He gets a pawn. Maybe two. Can I make a big threat here? I push this pawn forward. I have to do that first before I lift the rook. He takes here. Then I attack this pawn. He can't easily defend it, so it doesn't really lose a pawn to play like this. And then I activate my rook over here. Got a rook and a bishop. Attack on the light squares. I'll have a passed pawn. He will have a passed pawn. But the main thing was I had to give my king an escape route for this check. Otherwise, I was in big trouble. Should have taken there first. I'm a dummy. Can't go there with check, huh? Well, I could just start pushing this pawn. Here's the moment of truth. He's going to let me queen first. He'll queen with check. Maybe that's good enough. Oh, he doesn't want me to queen. Oh, shucks. Maybe I should have played the check while the pawn was blocking there. Okay, bring the rook over to stop this pawn. Unfortunately, bishop here, he takes it. Yeah, it looks like he's got me here. Let's try and liberate the bishop a little bit. Maybe I should have waited till he pushed the pawn there and then, oh, well, this is maybe a draw. Just got to get my king over to stop these pawns. There's not much he can do. I've got a passed pawn too. He has to be careful. Yeah, so now his bishop is tied up. And so is mine, but it's all right. Okay, so now he's achieved Zugzwang, which means he can move this forward one step when I step back with my king. Still, got to do it. Got to do it. I think I can just move my bishop back and forth. I think that's still a draw. His bishop always has to stay in touch with this diagonal here. Okay, I'm attacking this pawn now. He really can't do anything. I'm just moving my bishop back and forth. And we get a draw by repetition. Okay, good game there. Let's see if we can get another one. Maybe we'll play a rapid game this time. So anyway, I think, here I'll start with d4. I think white needs to play for something more in the Sicilian than just inflicting a little pawn damage and giving up the bishop here. Don't really approve of his style of play. Okay, this is the Marshall defense to the Queen's Gambit, which is not good. But just because it's not good doesn't mean you can't play it. It's a playable position. It's just better for white by more than the usual amount. That's interesting. He does have the ability to go to this square. Do I care about that? I kick the knight, it goes here. I kick it again. Yeah, I think it doesn't matter. I can kick it immediately and it has to go back. Anyway, this is why it's not good. It's because you get an extra tempo here, throwing your pawns forward. So white just gets a big center for free. And let's see, so this is under fire. Let's defend it. And let's block the pin. And the pin here threatens to win this pawn, but actually you can just kick the bishop and take this way. No, that doesn't work. That loses a pawn. There's some way out of it. Sometimes you suffer pawn damage over here, but it's okay. So this is defended. This is defended. Let's get castled. I could also be threatening the knight with this pin. Maybe now. Or maybe I'll just bring my queen up. I mean, this bishop move indirectly threatens this pawn. Could push first. See, if I go here with the queen, he takes the knight, I take back, and then he brings his knight in here to harass my queen. I have to go back to b1 to keep an eye on this pawn. And then I lose this. No, I don't lose this pawn. The knight's defending it, and his knight is here. So he goes back, and I kick this knight, or defend this pawn. So I think the upshot is I can play this move. He takes the knight, I take back with the pawn, and his knight can't come in here. So I was I was hallucinating. Oh, that's the problem. I needed to go here. Yeah. Okay, so let's defend this pawn. And get castled. Can kick the bishop or the queen away. Maybe I could have done that first. Yeah, let's go ahead and play that now. There's an idea here to push this pawn and then take here. This is starting to look like a game in the Evans Gambit. You know, you often get a pawn here and a pawn here in the Evans Gambit. Very dangerous gambit. So the queen can't go side to side. There's no square there. Can't go on this diagonal. Could go on this diagonal, but it doesn't. So yeah, I can push this pawn. Queen takes, I take here with check. No, I can't push the pawn. I can play f4, threatening e5. If he puts a rook here, I'll bring a rook over to defend my bishop. He doesn't. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go with this f4 e5 idea. Looks like he wants to develop his bishop. Be a nice diagonal for the bishop, but he's got to deal with this threat first. Queen's defending here, so if he puts the bishop here, it's not a mate threat yet. Okay, now this is interesting. Now the knight is hitting this bishop. I didn't allow for that. Okay, I can play the check and save the bishop, but he can try and trap the bishop. But I can maybe bring my rook up and attack. So let's go ahead and do that. Right, if he plays g6, I'll play bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Rook chases the queen here, and then queen goes here, and that's mate. Or other moves, I have this rook lift to come up and over to help out the queen. So yeah, not so easy to take advantage of my bishop there. Okay, but now I want to retreat it. Yep, since the queen is guarding here, once again, these knight moves are not threatening mate. So I can just take the knight. And what was my last move? Bishop back, yeah. I think queen here is a good move. He can take the pawn then. I can go check. And then mate. So this check leaves this undefended, so it has to be mate or have to come back and defend in time. So the check is also a fork, but I can't take the knight. So the knight comes to defend there. Okay, let's, if I take the knight, he takes. Yeah, I need something a little better. I'm trying to get my bishop to this square. Chases queen off. So if knight takes, then bishop here. Not queen takes. That would be mate. Yeah, he didn't go after the pawn here. He had bishop or knight and queen on the pawn, but yeah, it was probably not good to take it. So anytime I take the knight, I have the queen check here, but I don't have, well, he took the queen check away, but I didn't have a good follow-up there anyway. So let's, doesn't this win the bishop? Where's the queen going? Looks like it wins the bishop. He resigned. All right. Well, that was a good one. Let's see. We have time for one more game here. Let's see if we can get another one. So I'm back to e4. Oh, strong player. e4, e5. Strong player and a fast time control, but this is 5 and 3 is fine. Ah, he plays this. So the early bishop can be met by this. It's not like winning or anything, but it's an interesting line for white. He's looking for some clever intermediate move. Or is he wondering which piece to give up? I think just bishop takes pawn is fine. White has a slight advantage with the bishop pair, but the queen's out here, might get kicked around. The knight's okay there, I think. Or maybe he wants to retreat. I guess the other thing they do, yeah, they retreat the bishop, so you have to take the knight. Here's a funny line here. You play this, and the knight moves, and then you play this. Does it work here? I don't know if it works here. Sometimes that works. Like the knight moves, but it can't go anywhere because something gets trapped anyway. Okay, so he chose to have the bishop. That makes sense. Not quite sure what I want to do about this c6 square. Put the knight there or put the pawn there. I put the knight there, he takes, doubles my pawns. Kind of an aggravation factor. I could, and I can't develop my bishop here until I do something about this. So, you know, playing this pawn up to kick his bishop and he responds with check, it's a bit annoying. It's all a bit annoying. Should I set up like a Ruy Lopez? Come back over here and here? And just drop back here immediately. Set up like a... Yeah, I think I want to push this pawn forward and bring my knight over here. So I have the typical... Okay, let's start by defending this pawn. So I can move my knight here hitting the bishop. I don't have to worry about him taking this pawn because I'll get a bishop. Let's go ahead and do that. And we'll put the rook behind the pawn. Ah, so he just wanted to get his pawn forward. Yeah, so now he's got an isolated pawn. I have an open diagonal for my bishop. Just need to get rid of this knight, and I can do some kind of Greek gift sacrifice there, but it's not happening just yet. Okay, he's going to take my knight and checkmate me. It's not checkmate, actually, but it is a bit annoying. If I play my pawn to g8, 4. And he takes with the knight. I take back and he takes with the bishop. He still will have this threat here, so that might be too dangerous to play. Guess I'll just block the diagonal. Mianku. Mianku. Okay. Let's go ahead and put the bishop there. And then he runs with the knight. So, okay, so he's going to go here. Here, let's step up with the king. I do have bishop here. The advantage of the pawn on g3. Couldn't play it earlier, but with the pawn on g3 now I can. Could have played it here instead of the king move. Might have been interesting. Could have played it starting here, but I defended the knight, and he defended the knight again. Yeah, this is kind of a key point here. Okay, he's forcing me to play that. He wants me to play that move. Isn't this a problem for him? Oh, he's going to put the knight there. I see. So let's see. I can take here. And then take the bishop. Take the bishop first, let him take. Then take the rook. Okay, so I have two pieces. He has one, so I could take here. And if he takes back, then I'll save my bishop. If he takes this bishop, I'll save this one. Oh, yeah, he has to take there. Actually, I could trade rooks first. Just come back here. He's got a pawn he could take here. He doesn't bother. Okay, I have a pawn I could take here. And I will bother because I went it with check. Okay, it's opposite colored bishops, but I have two pawns and a rook. He resigned. All right. Well, that was a good session then. Started off with a draw, but finished with 2 wins. See you guys next time. Bye now.